So seeing as Far Cry 6 is releasing soon, I decided to cover my favourite entry into the franchise so far. I've always loved the Far Cry series. I don't know what it is about it. Every time I finish off one of the games, I tell myself, come on man, that was just grinding for 20 hours while you shot ethnic people. And I agree with myself. Switch off the game, sit there for a little, wait 2 years, and then I'll buy the next one. I've never been able to put my finger on what makes the game so fun, because whenever I take a really good look at the core gameplay elements, all I see is grindy nonsense. I guess it's in due part to the graphics. The graphics in Far Cry games have always been absolutely spectacular ever since the Crytek days, and in nearly all their games I was content to simply wander around and admire the landscape. Of course excluding fucking Far Cry 2 for fear that a mosquito would bite me and I'd instantly go blind until I staggered into a village and got some malaria pills. Otherwise, I'd just grab myself a Jeep or an ATV and set off into whatever place, some far-flung mountain paradise, tropical island, or American county, Far Cry was throwing me into next. And goddamn was it a hell of a lot of fun. Far Cry's main strengths definitely lie in its open-ended gameplay, variety of weapons and playstyles, and of course, in the absolute chaos you can get yourself into. This is turned up to fucking 11 in Far Cry 5, where every single road trip on the map is turned into a race through hell, Montana edition. There's always cultists on the side of the road, beating the shit out of some guy, or driving listening to the amazing soundtrack on repeat. I mean, I can't blame them. Keep your rifle by your side is absolutely incredible for a radio station in a video game. You can approach these scenarios like a little bitch and zoom past them as the detection meter slowly fills and then fades back down and you get back to Snapchatting your many whores while the game auto-drives your car for you, or you do it the heroic way. And this is where Far Cry, and Far Cry 5 especially, excel, in the freedom of choice. You leap out of the car and spill onto the road as it crashes into a silo and blows up the entire thing. You barely register the fire that is now quickly spreading across the landscape as the silo was full of bliss, and you need to struggle not to breathe in too much. You quickly gun down the two guards, but one hasn't seen you yet. He's staring at the silo in disbelief. You line up a headshot and peg him right in the back of the head, grabbing the hostage and calming them down by talking to them. They inform you of a Doomsday Prepper stash hidden nearby to express their gratitude, and then they waltz off, singing your praises. So you walk over to the nearest car, flip on the radio, and head for that motherfucking Prepper stash. Now that situation could have played out infinitely different ways. That was just the way it turned out for me personally. You could quickly get out of the car and crouch along the ground, stabbing each man in the back successively, or could have just gone full drive-by and unloaded lead into the bad guys, spraying and praying the hostage is unharmed. It always leads to a new thing. Every action you take leads to even more mayhem and fun you can get yourself into. That Prepper stash you went to contained a brand new rifle and a generous amount of cash and perk points. Oh, by the way, the currency and economy of this game is just perfect. Which you use to unlock even more creative ways to take out your foes. Instead of jumping out of the car, why not hit the ejector seat and whip out your parachute, raining white-hot death from above? The point that I'm trying to make here is that Far Cry 5 is jam-packed full of variety and fun. The story is just right, just compelling enough that you do feel a strong need to partake in it, yet you don't feel guilty when you don't. Not to mention the side missions, drinking contests, testy festies, fishing, hunting, flying, hiking, everything you'd expect from good old Hope County, Montana. There's a huge roster of guns available to use, and while some are initially blocked until you liberate a region, it ends up positively encouraging experimentation with different guns, and really feels good when you unlock the next one or two. The game somewhat ditches Far Cry 5's approach to, the suppressor only fits on this specific gun, Herdura style, and instead they opted for a slightly more realistic suppressors on shotguns Far Cry 3 style, which is just so much better in every way. So, to sum up this review, Far Cry 5 was a fresh take on the formula, which was just the breath of air that the franchise needed. It's an incredible addition to the series and will go down as one of the greatest... Yeah, I'm just kidding. We've gone over the pros, let's go over the cons. Okay, first off, what I said earlier still fucking stands. The game might dress it up as a cool side mission, but in reality, all the missions are fetch quests or shooty bad guy, get big money. The outposts, while fun, are lacking, both in number and unique attributes which set them apart from each other. Unless you're fucking stealth gamer BR, you're gonna spend 10 minutes scoping the area out with a pair of good old-fashioned binocs, and then carefully wait for the enemies to walk right into you, back first in true Far Cry fashion. The worst part about it is you really sink your teeth into the gameplay. It looks so cool, and then you realize it's all an illusion. The wingsuit, while cool, is just a faster way to get from point A to point B. The cars all handle the exact same, even if they have multiple bullet holes and a smoking engine. Why do I have to soar through the air to get somewhere when I could fast travel there? Now, the map is gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but it's the same map. My stats say I've flown for about 2 hours total in the wingsuit, usually in, 20-second spurts from point A to point B, and yeah, it controls like shit, and you can't even observe the beautiful world around you because of this shitty barrel smear motion blur combo, which makes you want to vomit back up the $70 you blew on this game in the first place. Sadly, the wingsuit theorem rings true for many of the other gameplay elements. The game is it's just missing something, and I sure as hell can't figure out what. The only thing I can think of off the top of my head is how the story starts off crazy strong, liberating outposts, finding pets and guns for hire, blowing shit up, and then you do it again. Twice. And I can say from experience that once you reach whichever region you chose to tackle last, you're so fucking done with everyone's shit that you'll wingsuit straight into Joseph's Island. Yeah, that's a gameplay feature, not sure why they added that in, and get really pissed when you realize you can't just skip the entire game that you just bought. You'd be better off taking the ending at the start.